What's going on, traders? Here to give you guys a quick update on my thoughts when it comes to the overall market. Right now, we're looking at the SPY daily time frame, and we finally closed above that key level of 685. Now, when we look at cheddar flow, we see that multiple call walls are forming here. One being at 687 with a 3.1 billion GEX. We have another at 688 with a 2.5 billion GEX, and then we have another one at 690 with a 2 billion GEX. And right now, after hours, you're kind of witnessing the SPY have a hard time staying above 687. Take after hours with a grain of salt, but if this continues, then obviously we'll see a rejection back towards the downside, possibly hit that 685 level, and possibly go even lower than that, where we can see a move back towards that 683, 682.1 range. Obviously, if you're bullish, you don't want to see that happen. Now, one thing we talked about in the last video, right, is that historically, when Jerome Powell speaks, you get an initial move and then you get an actual move. And what I mean by that is, for example, if the market is bullish during Jerome Powell's speech, then typically, right, more often than not, you do get an opposite effect, where if we're bullish through his speech, then the next day or two, you do get a pullback. Now, how deep that pullback goes, I can't say until we start breaking key levels. But for now, it's very much possible that we see a pullback. It can be something as simple as maybe 685. It can be something super dramatic, maybe a move like this where you start heading towards that gap fill at 675. We can't say for sure. So heading into tomorrow, I will be very much careful. Now, something to support this thought process is the VIX. Right, the VIX has filled this gap here. Now, if you've been on this channel for quite some time, you've been here since the start, you know how we feel about the VIX being within the range of 15 and 14. This is dangerous territory. Now, it's very much possible that we see more downside when it comes to the VIX, which obviously would have an inverse effect on the market. And right now, if we are going to see more downside, I imagine we see a move as low as about maybe 15 before bouncing back towards the upside. You have a trend here where you bounced here, you bounced here, you bounced here, you even bounced here. And if we do continue towards the downside when it comes to the VIX, we could potentially form some type of double bottom where your neckline will be at 17.5. Now, this isn't written in stone or anything like that, but it is something you can look out for and probably correlate that with what the SPY is doing right now, which is having a very hard time staying above 687. For now, I don't see a reason to really panic just yet. I will say that you're still within the range of these guys right here. So let's zoom in here on the daily. You are within the range of these guys right here. So let's mark this out as well. Yeah, so you're in the range of these guys right here. So it's very much possible that you continue to reject towards the downside. As long as we hold 685, I would say we're safe, but you really, really want to see us just break above these call walls here. Now, something else we talked about in the last video when we zoom out on the daily time frame, so let's reset this here, is what happens once we head back towards the upside. We're already heading towards the upside, but let's say we get a real momentum move towards the upside, right? I'm looking at a move towards 700, possibly as high as 705, the top of this rising wedge. So rejection here, rejection here, rejection here. And then from there, I do think you're going to start topping. All right, the market is going to start topping, and then you reject back towards the downside. Now, how that plays into effect with the gap fill at 675, I can't say for sure. But so for now, we just have to wait and see what happens. So that's what I'm looking at in regards to the SPY and being bullish with the SPY. If we do see a dump towards the downside, I don't think it's going to be the end of the world or anything like that. I think worst case scenario, just simply retest 675, and that's your buying opportunity towards all-time highs. However, if we just continue towards all-time highs, I will be wary once we get, or be kind of cautious once we get within the 700, 695, 700 range. That's just me. You do what you want with that information. All right. So when we look at the NASDAQ, so interesting enough, the NASDAQ is having a hard time here still, right, at around 25,800. So things were looking good from the outside, but when you really look at, the futures market and the NASDAQ specifically, you haven't really gone anywhere. When you're looking at the daily time frame, you haven't, right? You're still within this range. You're still consolidating, crazy enough. So when you're looking at the NASDAQ, it's like, okay, right? So you saw the SPY pump towards the upside. You saw the Qs pump towards the upside. And you even saw the NASDAQ somewhat pump towards the upside. But in reality, when you zoom out and just look at everything, all you did was consolidate all over again. You're just back where you started like a week ago. So I would say, again, just be careful heading into tomorrow. Maybe we get an inverse effect. That's just me. Do what you want. But for now, I wouldn't trust this move right now. That's just me. Okay. ES Again, ES pretty much the same thing. Yeah, you broke down, but ultimately, when you're looking at the daily time frame, you're still consolidating here, guys. All right, and you still are hitting resistance. You just went right back towards resistance at around 6,900. So this is something you want to pay attention to as well. All right, I'm not trying to fearmonger or anything like that. And again, I don't expect some huge correction or crash or anything like that. I don't think a move pullback towards 675 is a bad thing. I really don't. I don't think that's a terrible. I don't think that's the end of the world. But if we don't get a pullback to 675, and maybe this is just consolidation for the next big move to 700, that's completely fine as well. But again, just be cautious. Wait 30 minutes into open, heading into tomorrow, and go where you want to go from there. All right, Nvidia. So interesting enough, Nvidia is Nvidia. Nvidia Inc. Nvidia Inc. Yeah, there we go. All right, so right now Nvidia hit the top of this rising wedge pattern, right? Let me do something real quick. Sorry. So there we go. All right, so Nvidia hit the top of this rising wedge pattern. This is when that China news came in, and it just pumped after hours, and nobody benefited from it because it gave it all back pre-market the next day, and it hit the top of this rising wedge pattern. And I was showing Discord members this, like, yeah, this move is just nothing really, and then it rejected back towards the downside and is breaking below this rising wedge pattern, and you have a bearish engulfing candle. So right now, Nvidia, I do have a price target of 177 from this point on if it manages to continue towards the downside. Now, whether it drags the market down with it, I can't say for sure, because right now it looks like we're witnessing a sector rotation. And what I mean by that is when you look at XLV, XLV is pumping, right? So healthcare sector is pretty much pumping back towards the upside. So it's looking like we're getting a sector rotation where you're just kind of seeing market makers be hands off of tech and more so rotate into defensive names. Now, what this could mean, can't say for sure, but it doesn't look good long term. All right, it doesn't look good. I would say it doesn't look good intermediate to long term. So I will definitely be looking out for the healthcare sector, because if this continues and you're seeing, Nvidia drop, right, this kind of confirms that, yeah, we're witnessing a sector rotation, and that's what's really holding, or that's one of the things that's really holding this market up right now. So again, something you want to be cautious about. All right, so that's pretty much all I have. We can look at a few other names, right? Tesla looks good so far. Tesla just pretty much filled this gap here at around 455, 454, more or less. I don't see a reason to be bearish on Tesla. It's very much possible that Tesla can head towards not six, 470. And then from there, we'll have to see what happens. All right, 470, possibly get as high as 500 by the end of the year, assuming that, it does its own thing and the market remains bullish. But for now, Tesla looks good. Apple 277 was your key level. As long as Apple stays above 277, there's no reason for me to be bearish on it. However, Apple is really annoying to trade. I understand, and it will eat your premiums alive. So, do what you want with that. And this is another thing, guys. You're not seeing big tech really do anything, and this is kind of bagging up the whole sector rotation thing. Microsoft, like, what is this? Right? Like, we just witnessed the SPY go crazy and the Qs go crazy, and then Microsoft is like, nah, I don't like that. Well, I mean, Meta, right? Meta, pretty much the same thing. It's just like, nah, I'm not feeling that, right? Nvidia, again, so I hope you guys get the point here. I mean, Tesla was the only one that really was just doing something here, and then of course you got Google just googling all over the place, but otherwise, it's you're not seeing a real reaction from the Mag 7. You got a few names, but ultimately majority of them are just not benefiting off this move towards the upside, which further confirms that, yeah, we're witnessing a sector rotation. So, you know, be careful really trading to the upside when it comes to the Mag 7. Obviously, Meta has huge potential here, right? Meta has a very huge potential here after filling this gap, but you want to see, some correlation across the market. Never mind, it's at 644 after hours, all right? So, things are looking kind of crazy after hours, right? Or not even after hours, but just when it comes to the Mag 7. So you really want to be careful here. IWM made new highs, right? That's great and all if you trade, small caps, but otherwise, everything else is just really not doing anything. So you guys let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I mean, Bitcoin 93K still giving it hell. So, do what you want with that. And it's still within this bear flag. Again, best case scenario for Bitcoin is potentially, heading as high as about 98K, 100K before rejecting back towards the downside, or it's just done here. Double tops here, top here, top here, neckline at around 87K. We'll just say 85K to be safe, and then boom, your bear flag is playing out. So a lot of things look good. I would say I wouldn't even say a lot of things. Some things look good, but a lot of things look kind of sketchy. Okay, so be careful trading into tomorrow. That's the best thing I can give you in this video. Nvidia's being weird, right? Nvidia's breaking down. Microsoft's breaking down. Netflix is even breaking down. Apple is just being boring. Meta is breaking down. When you put everything together, it's kind of like, okay, something weird is happening in the background. That's just me. You guys let me know what you think in the comments below. And until the next video, traders, have a good one.